All right, hello. Do you remember the first guy you have ever met having a mobile phone? I do. It was in the early 1990s. It was a sunny afternoon, and there was this guy entering the scene, and he was having one of these devices. And he was talking on the phone. Actually, he wasn't really talking on the phone. He was rather showing off and telling people, hey, look at me, I'm having a mobile phone. You don't. And people around started discussing, hey, first what they said is, okay, what an arrogant dick. And then they said, do we really need this? I don't think so. Most people said, hey, I don't think that in the future we will use mobile phones. And this whole situation reminds me a little of today. I picked this picture because here's, I guess, mainly virtual reality crowd, and every single one of you knows this picture. And yeah, in the future we will look differently on that topic. When it comes to people who haven't been in touch with VR beforehand, so actually we encountered mainly two groups. First, the skeptics. They were saying, oh my God, virtual reality, that's so bad. And you have young people and they play games in there and ooh, it's porn. And they will get lost there, they will never find out, and they will stay there the rest of their lives till they die. On the other hand, you have the ultra enthusiasts saying, almost like a home shopping presenter saying, oh my God, this virtual reality, it's so great. World will be a much better place. You must try it. And yeah, something in the middle would be pretty good, I guess. Somehow, of course, I became member of the second group. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have founded our company, Weltenmacher. Speaking of, yeah, you don't want to listen to that music. Weltenmacher, we are an agile startup based in Düsseldorf. We develop VR applications and we focused on educational, on training applications. Every single team member in our team is 100% dedicated and passionate about what we do. And we made our first bigger projects, advanced projects. And my laptop is stuck. That's good. Never mind. But you got the idea. Short info on me, Boris Kantzow. My colleague Jonathan couldn't make it today. Short background, originally I worked in film production, and I was always interested in how new technologies give new opportunities content-wise. So I worked in film production. I had a startup called Code One, and we developed hardware and software for video live streaming with over 20 employees. We sold that when I was professor at the University of Rhine-Main in Wiesbaden, and I taught the students video production and video technology. That's when I started with 360-degree video and virtual reality. So 1.5 years ago, we founded the Weltenmacher with our focus on VR trainings in education. I'll switch directly. Said the talk is called No More VR-Bla Bla, so no more roller coaster, etc. So I would like to guide you through some of our approaches of how we go into our projects. And there's 3 points. Start with the idea management, getting ideas, and then how to prototype and to take the next level to professionalize. Create the ideas. I guess there's no startup having too few ideas. The main question is how to get the right ones. And to get this done in an organized way, we have the following way. We call it the vision of a month. It's not exactly on a monthly basis, but we try and we do it on a regular basis. So first of all, of course, okay, gather ideas. We all have plenty of them. But then we have to narrow it down, of course. Okay, what's the purpose? What's the benefit? Sure. Have to be very aware of what your target group is. In the trailer beforehand, there's one example we made for the chemical industry with Bayer, BASF, Evonik, and the target group is young people getting to know how is it to become a technician in the field of chemistry. So this young target group, they are keen to get to know this new technology, and they say, hey, virtual reality, that's cool. I show you a different example later on with a much older target group. Then, of course, hey, we have a great idea. Does anyone care? So you have to check, make a short business plan, very short, just one page maybe. And then you have to check the feasibility. Is it technically possible what you're thinking about? Does it work content-wise? So if you've done this and you say, hey, that could work out, we came to peritoneal dialysis. That was our vision of the month in September last year. Peritoneal dialysis. Anybody knows what that is? Does anybody know what dialysis is? I guess so. So dialysis, if you have a kidney disease, your blood needs to be cleansed, to be processed, the toxins need to be taken out. If your kidneys aren't working properly any longer, you may need the help of dialysis. Peritoneal dialysis, don't worry, I won't dive too deep into that, but you need a rough understanding at least. To get the toxins out of your body, you have some solution, some liquid within your peritoneum. You have a catheter, and then 3 times a day, you need to exchange this liquid. The liquid needs to get out in some drainage bag, and then you have to flow it in again for a new solution bag. No rocket science, but it's like 30 steps. It's not totally easy, and you should make it really right, otherwise you will get an infection, and you certainly don't want to have that. Getting back to our vision of the month, we had these points, and for our dialysis project, the idea, hey, peritoneal dialysis, however would we come to that idea? So we are a bunch of, let's say, nerds and programmers and content guys, but we have no medical expertise. So a friend of mine, she's a doctor in the Klinikum Dortmund, nephrologist, and she once wore one of these head-mounted displays in VR, said, oh, that's great. That triggered a whole lot of ideas. She told me some of them, and I often said, don't think so. And then she came up with this one, and we said, that might work in VR. Purpose, benefit, okay, patients need to learn faster. As I said, they must not make any major mistakes, otherwise they can get an infection. So, and that may end deadly in the worst case. And there are other advantages too. Then, target group. I was talking about that earlier. He has written DAO, in Germany, dümmster anzunehmender User, and that's not meant in a negative way. It's, we have to be aware that people being 60 years plus, sometimes 70, 80, hey, they don't say, oh, that's so great having a VR device now. They say, don't know. So we had to keep the whole thing as simple as possible. Business plan, I won't go into that one. And regarding the feasibility, we said, okay, complicated, but we can make it. Important for the whole procedure is that people are really doing things. And that was important because that's something we can do in VR. So we have the immersion factor, we have the interaction factor, and that's why that should work pretty well. Step 1, we had our idea. Step 2, do it and get out. We started developing the prototype. And of course, our developers started right away. We had very simple 3D models. And then after only 4 weeks, we went to the Klinikum Dortmund to show it to the clinic chef and to certain nurses, etc. We were thinking, we should go a little further. But then we just did it, and it was the right decision. Key moment was when Dr. Skura just picked some nurse saying, hey, do you want to try it? And it was nurse Claudia, and in her whole life, she certainly never had any game controller in her hand. And she went in there. We made it very simple. We only have one button. And she did the procedure. And we were very curious, what is she saying? And she came out, red cheeks, and she was saying, wow, would that be great for our patients? And that, of course, was the best feedback we could get. And that, for us, was the sign to continue to go on. So we went through several iteration steps, developed it further, content-wise, more complicated steps, graphic-wise. And then again, we were thinking, okay, what's the next step? And yeah, we made the decision to go to a nephrology congress in Denmark. And yeah, that's some pictures from there. We had great feedback from nurses, from doctors, from clinics, from the ISPD, that's kind of the dialysis TÜV. And yeah, from that stage on, we got more invitations to further congresses. We are in Berlin and Erfurt. Next year, we're going to present the whole thing in New Orleans in the US. Making me the nephrology expert, I of course not. But I'm getting deeper and deeper in this project, and I myself am indeed the product owner of this thing, so I have to hold everything together content-wise. So we had our prototype, we had great feedback. What's next? Take it to the next level. And ideally, go sign a deal. And that's what we did. And we are very happy we could do it with Fresenius Medical Care. Most of you probably have heard from Fresenius. Fresenius is the world's leading provider of products and services for people with chronic kidney failure. So it's a global company, whole Fresenius group, more than 30 billion annual revenue, and we are very happy to work with them. Next step now is get our prototype on a more professional level. So we have to get the equipment of Fresenius, rebuild this, make a better concept, better user interface design, better graphics, etc. Moreover, there will be an evaluation at the end of the year. In the field of medicine, obviously, people always need proof. And so there's this evaluation in several European clinics. So to get our still pretty rough prototype to the next level, we really need to structure our work. So I'll give you a short overview and then pick one of these things as a back practice. Maybe you can take away something. Of course, we have the content side, we have the programming, they are interacting with each other. We have user interface design, we have the graphics, and everyone needs to talk to everybody, and everyone needs to have a common understanding. For those of you who develop, who are in software development, they know that's one of the key challenges. Hey, let's dance. So, moreover, even more things to take care of. So I'm not going into any script with you now or into user interface details, but one tool that really helps us a lot, I'll show you this one. Some of you may know that, but it's user story mapping. So that's the whole thing. We have different areas to give an overview, preparations, other stuff, but I dive into this one here, a little more detail. I told you in the very beginning, vision of the month. We always thought about what's the purpose, what's the benefit, who is our target group. So in this tool, all our developers, designers, 3D guys, whoever works with this tool, and on top of it is written, hey, this is our purpose. That's written in here. Hey, that's our target groups. We not only have patients, we also have nurses. So keep in mind when you are programming this and that. People tend to forget pretty easily. And then we have this whole thing here. If we go a little deeper into that one, of course you can't read anything. So that's this whole process, making this peritoneal dialysis is linear. So that's our linear process. Up here we have our user stories. This whole thing is connected to Jira, so our developers directly can make their tasks out of it. And we broke the whole thing down to pieces. Various chapters, introduction chapters. So, and every single part of this whole procedure, like connecting a bag, for example, consists of further smaller tasks, and you lose the overview if it's too much and if the project becomes too complex. So, yeah, here you always know where in the whole process you are. That's one of the very extremely important things. My main two takeaways of this tool here is having the overview, that everybody always knows in the whole team, hey, where are we? What are we working on at the moment? And what I said earlier, common understanding. We had, in the first projects, we had quite some misunderstandings here and there. Pretty normal, but with this tool, we really get it much, much better. So, that was our vision of the month, peritoneal dialysis, strange subject, and yeah, we are just about to finish to make a kick-ass application out of this pretty dry topic. So, this application, of course, we are not making for fun. People get some real value out of it, on an educational level as well as on an economic level. Let's start with an economic value. Of course, cost reduction in different parts. People are not as long in the clinics. You need less nursing staff, etc. It's scalable. You can put these VR setups wherever you like and how many clinics you like. And one very important thing is this standardization, because at the moment, people learn this whole procedure from nurses, and everyone tends to tell a slightly different story. So if they would have one tool internationally even, you could guarantee that they work, not guarantee, but you're much closer to everyone doing the same steps. So for the students or patients or whoever, one thing is you can train it as often as you like and different chapters step by step in your own pace. So it's much more efficient than other training media like e-learning, video, etc. And building muscle memory, I really like this expression because it exactly says what you're doing. Hey, you do things often enough and you will remember. If you just read it 10 times, 20 times, yeah, you still don't really know, hey, when did I have to screw this cap or another? In virtual reality, people are not only allowed, but we encourage them to make mistakes, because you learn from mistakes. There are several mistakes you shouldn't do in real life. When you're firefighting, make a mistake, not good. In this case, if you connect something wrong and there's bacteria getting inside of your body, don't want that either. And one more benefit I see is very important is this additional information. This chemical case I was describing earlier. Young people learning how to use a pump, and it's more complicated than just pushing the button. If they are in a technicum at Bayer or Bayer's F, for example, there's this huge machinery and they're standing in front of it and they're pulling some valves and pushing some buttons, and then there's a noise and people tell them, yeah, it's running, cool. Or they say them, are you crazy? You are just about to destroy the pump. Now in VR, we are able to give them this additional information. They can look inside the pump. They can look what is happening inside of the tubes. Is the liquid in there? What's the pressure? Any kind of information we can give on top. So that also increases the efficiency of a VR training. Our key learnings from all of that is, first, connect. You need to talk to other people out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, this dialysis topic we would never have picked, because how could we? We don't know that it exists in the first place. So get out, talk, try. Then, second, you really need to understand the process or the product you're dealing with. Otherwise, you certainly will not be able to make a good application. One of our guys, he's becoming a real expert in the field of chemistry. He knows everything about what kind of pumps and pressures and Druckseite and Saugseite and whatever. Otherwise, you can't do it. Then go out. Don't be shy. Of course, one is always thinking, and then they see our idea, it's not that far, and then they take the idea. Hey, there's so many ideas out there. I think it's the right approach to just go for it, check it out, and see what the response is. Worst case, make a new idea. And last but not least, the workflow. When you get on a higher level, you really need to get your shit together and to know that every field is working in the right direction. So that's our main takeaways. And in the end, I do have one more video. I hope, at least. So why am I showing this one? I started with the first mobile phones in the early 90s. 2008, when the iPhone came out, in the beginning, there were a few hundred of mobile apps, and that was one of the very, very first ones. Doesn't make sense at all. It's fun, but nothing else. We know today there's several millions of apps, many of them being very, very useful in all areas. So, and I think we are at a similar stage now with virtual reality. Don't think there will be so many virtual reality sets as there are mobile phones, but anyway, there will be many, many more, and there's so many great ideas with such benefit and purpose, and we have to find them and go for it. Thanks.